majority of American people do not want it enforced and are resisting its enforcement. That being so, the orderly thing to do under our form of government is to abolish a law which cannot be enforced, a law which the people of the country do not want enforced. Prohibition cannot be enforced for the simple reason that the majority of American people do not want it enforced and are resisting its enforcement. That being so, the orderly thing to do under our form of government is to abolish a law which cannot be enforced, a law which the people of the country do not want enforced. Prohibition cannot be enforced for the simple reason that the majority of American people do not want it enforced and are resisting its enforcement. That being so, the orderly thing to do under our form of government is to abolish a law which cannot be enforced, a law which the people of the country do not want enforced.
Hello and welcome, recording live from KCDI Studios. This is CKZ, blasting anyone or anything that makes us angry. We bring critical thinking, skepticism, and ridicule to anything that makes the news or our purview. It's political, it's skeptical, it's triggering, and we are not holding anything back. I'm your host, Kent Williams, along with my best pals, Caitlin Be Genuine, rolling with it, and Papa Zach Manworth. Thanks for joining the show.
Hi, all the technical difficulties tonight. Welcome back,
boys.
every one of us. Something happened.
You're right.
We always manage to pull out a show, though.
That's right.
Amen. It's season 2 of CKZ, and if you've joined us before, thank you for your time. If you've joined us before, thank you for being here, and welcome. If you're new here, be sure to like and follow, subscribe, share, and let us know your thoughts as we carry on, preferably in the form of as many comments and reacts to other comments as you can. Facebook always does a major crackdown on visibility during election cycles, so we don't mind if you sad or angry face us either. If you want to keep us seeing us on your timeline, interaction is key.
Yes, welcome everybody. It's season 2. Season 2, I love it. I just can't believe I get to say that. I am the Zach Man. I'm unfiltered, I'm unapologetic, and I'm uncensored. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. We are on all the streams. We're YouTube, we're Twitter, we're Facebook, on Twitch.
Twitch.
We are getting old and older every day, but we managed to keep up with the technologies. Take that, kids. We're here. We are merely all meat puppets controlled by electrical impulses, and you don't realize how fragile that all is until you are given a set of crutches and told to use them. We've got a great show for you guys tonight. Make sure you like, subscribe, hang out. Let us know what you think in the comments. We love hearing from you guys. We love sharing your comments up on the screen. Thank you all for being here. We've got Jimmy Beard with us up first. I'm super excited for that. We got Elva Madrid.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
It's going to be an exciting show.
Booking these guests. So
oh my goodness. Awesome. Yeah, it's not easy, I overbooked these guys, and I really appreciate them. It was last minute. We had to move them up a whole week, and they were willing to do it. Just going to be here to talk with us, which is great. We do have a full show tonight, so the full format's going to be a little bit different than what you guys are used to. We apologize to our nonprofits, as we won't be covering events in Garden City. Please visit GCK. That's visitgck.com to find your weekend thrill and fun in Garden City.
Yes, and as we stated, we have two very important guests tonight, starting with Jimmy Beard and Elva Madrid later on this evening. Let's get started.
Jimmy!
So,
hi!
We have producer overkill.
All of the difficulties.
Kit will stop touching buttons. So thank you, Jimmy, so much for taking time to meet with us tonight. For those of you who don't know you, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what you do, family life, and how long have you lived in Garden City?
Sure. Well, thanks for having me on here tonight. It was a scheduling issue, but easy to move things around. I'm happy to be here with you with you three. So for those of you who don't know, my name's Jimmy Beard. I am running for the U.S. House of Representatives in the big 1st Congressional District. So I'm kind of from a little bit all over the place. I grew up in a military family, so I was born in South Carolina, and I never really lived anywhere for more than 3 or 4 years or so. But I moved to Kansas in 2009 to get my education degree. And I've been teaching here in Garden City High School since 2013, January of 2014.
So being an Air Force kid, what made you decide to be an educator then? It's just kind of a different path.
It's my calling wasn't necessarily education. It was helping people, right? My brother, my sister, and I, we all learned at a young age, put service to others before yourself, and try to leave behind something better. And so I remember when I was a kid, I wanted to be a firefighter. And then when I was in high school, meet a bunch of friends, we thought we were going to go into the Marines together. But then, I was taking calculus. I was helping some of my friends in high school with it. And it's like, I could do this. I could be a force for good in my own way. So I became a math teacher, and I've worked with I volunteered with a couple of nonprofits and a couple of other local groups around here in town for the past few years.
Yeah, sure. So we do know you do quite a bit of work with the LGBTQ plus community in GC. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do there? And
I've had to take a step back from some of my volunteering work these past couple of years. Running for Congress is a bit busy. But so I was first approached by one of my students a few years ago, probably about 2016, 2017, to be the sponsor of the Gay Straight Alliance. The old sponsor was moving to a different high school, so they needed to get something together pretty quick. And I was really happy to do it. Just try to create an environment where kids could be themselves. Because the fact of the matter is, I've had students in the past who were kicked out of their class because they were trans, and they had a math teacher who wouldn't accept them. It's as simple as this, right? My name is James, but I go by Jimmy, and anyone can learn that. That's an easy thing to ask, right?
Sure.
So someone was born with the name Carl, and now they go by Carla. What's the difference? So
I go by my middle name, and I get very upset when people use my first.
Right?
We won't even say it live on air. Can't.
It's a simple, everyday ask. Treat me as who I am, and learn who I am, right? Before you start trying to disrespect someone. It's It's something that we do every day, but that doesn't necessarily get extended to some of our LGBTQ students. And so I tried my best to create a welcoming environment within the school. I went through some trainings with GLSEN. Formerly it was called the Wichita chapter, and then they expanded to become the whole Kansas, cover the whole state of Kansas. So I did some trainings with them, and I volunteered with a group that started out of a Compass Behavioral Health a few years ago. I think we called it the Southwest Kansas Health Commission or something like that is what we called ourselves. Just aimed at providing resources for queer-friendly organizations and businesses to the local queer community.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
It isn't just a simple ask. I mean, I call Zach Papa Zach Man Wharf all the time. And it doesn't matter, right? It's out of respect to him, and it's a simple ask. If it's comfortable for somebody else, you should make them comfortable and easy, and go on about your day. It doesn't negatively affect you, and we're proud of the work that you do there. And everyone seems to have to fight for equality, and it's not just in the LGBTQ plus community. It's race, it's sex, it's religion. How do you plan to bring us all together on a level playing field during that fight for equality?
I mean, that's a tough question, and if I win, I'm gonna fight like hell to make sure that we're approaching that. But I mean, let's be real, problems aren't going to be solved in 2 years. It's going to take a lot of change, and it's going to take a lot of work from a lot of people. Best I can do is start from a place of compassion, try to meet people from where they're at, and try to make sure everyone has a seat at the table.
I think one of the things that seems to be most effective in other states is when you have a bold legislator of some sort that goes up and makes an impassioned speech and calls out the other side. And when those videos get to go viral, that's when the real attention happens with the topic. That's just the society we live in today. Unfortunately, if it can't be in a TikTok that's impassioned, it doesn't get people fired up.
Yeah, attention spans are pretty short these days.
Yes, you would know better than most.
My classroom, it's rough sometimes.
I bet. And with the parent-teacher conferences going on too, that's
right.
Yeah, it's been a long day.
Yes, thank you again for being here and
I'm sure
arranging your schedule to fit that. So we are seeing cuts to music education
tomorrow, so
specifically.
it's okay. Oh.
There you go.
Sorry, didn't mean to talk over you.
No, say that again. No, you go again.
I get to sleep in tomorrow, so it's all right.
Oh, there you go.
I'm excited. I mean, we have ours later in the afternoon, of course, but I am as excited as you are to sleep in. So we are seeing cuts to music education, specifically here at USD 457. How do you plan to strengthen education in Kansas and ensure music would continue to help kids prosper and grow?
Absolutely. So it starts with a strong Department of Education, making sure that we protect every student's right to an appropriate education that's well funded. School doesn't work when it's just memorize the facts, right? Your reading, writing, arithmetic, like is not comprehensive enough, right? We're not just trying to develop students academically. We're also trying to develop students emotionally. We're trying to get them to figure out what their career interests are and who they are as a people. So making sure schools are well funded and getting rid of testing requirements. I don't know what the perfect solution is for school accountability in that regard, but we overtest our kids, man. I've got sophomores who take the state assessment, and that's 2 days their sophomore year, 2 days 2 more days for their English assessment. Got juniors taking 2 more state assessments, plus we do 3 more interim assessments every year for math, 3 more every year for English, and a bunch of other tests. It's overloaded, right? We've got to end the test requirements from the federal level to the state level. It's too much, and we need to focus on what's important to these kids.
So recently, President Biden announced pardons for all low-level cannabis offenders, which is huge. Cannabis prohibition has ripped apart a lot of families, and Kansas is no stranger to it. We have a private prison that's absolutely jam-packed with them. It's caused extreme poverty, disproportionately affected minority groups. What opinions and plans do you have for cannabis reform and criminal justice reform in Kansas? This is going to be a big topic for Tracy Mann, and I would love to hear how you're going to hammer him on it.
Absolutely. So, first, criminal justice, we're going to end for-profit prisons, right? There's no reason for those to be for-profit. All that does is it incentivizes prisons to keep people in prison. To find any infraction, to keep those, to keep the rates at 98, 99%. With a for-profit prison, there's no reason to reduce recidivism. To reform inmates so that when they're out, they're less likely to come back. So we end for-profit prisons and address racial disparities in police enforcement, making sure police are well trained and well funded to do the job they need to do, and to take more low-level offenses like simple marijuana possession, like simple domestic disputes off of their caseload, right? Fully fund some more social work programs within cities. So police don't have to worry about that, and they can focus on more serious crimes. And as far as the drugs, I am on board. We'll vote for fully decriminalizing or ending the federal prohibition on marijuana. As a matter of individual liberty, it should be treated no different than alcohol and tobacco. Never mind the fact that industrial hemp would then be legal to grow across the country, which could
it would be revolutionary in Southwest Kansas.
Exactly. It's as a crop, it uses significantly less water than wheat and corn, and it could introduce new textile jobs. It can introduce new construction jobs, and I'd be in favor of making that change retroactive across the nation. Anyone who is convicted of simple possession and no other violent offense should be released from prison.
Amen.
Absolutely.
So the richest, and we mean the top 1%, pay less in taxes than average American families. While average American families struggle to put food on the table and make rent, they pay the highest rates. What plans do you have to close income gap disparities?
Shit, I mean, I've got... sorry, I don't know if I'm allowed to swear.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
We are unfiltered and uncensored.
That's right.
Okay. I don't have a bad paying job. I take on extra duties but I make $65,000, right? And I lose maybe about a third of my paycheck every month in taxes. We've got 729 billionaires who won't pay their fair share. We got 729 Scrooge McDucks who would rather watch us suffer beneath their boot, and when we can't put food on our tables. We need to unrig the system. We need to America built its interstates, and America went to the moon when we had a tax system when the top 1% paid as much as 90% tax on just that top on that rate above $9 million, or whatever it would equate to in inflation. But man, when we had taxes like that, we could go to the moon. Now bridges are crumbling, roads are in desperate need of repair across the country, and we've got an electrical grid that can't keep up with supplies. We have states that have to do rolling blackouts in the middle of the summer. We've
come close to
fix our tax system. We need to fix our tax system so we're not paying for the billionaires. The billionaires need to pay their fair share to help us out. We need to focus on reinvesting into Main Street, not Wall Street.
Yeah, absolutely. And for this August, go ahead. Yeah. For the August 2nd primaries, we had a huge constitutional vote regarding health care for women. A yes vote would have made health care even harder than it already is, as average Americans are, $200 a medical bill away from bankruptcy. Do you support Medicare for all?
I support any sort of medical system. I don't know the perfect answer, but we do need a new system. Like maybe Medicare for all is it. Maybe it's strengthening the Affordable Care Act. But we need something to take this medical strain off of all Americans, right? I've got a sister who's undergoing cancer treatment right now, and I'm confident she's going to beat this, but I have no idea how the bills are going to get paid. And I'm doing everything I can to help her out with her kids. I have significantly less serious health matters that I've got to pay another $900 this month when I go back to the dentist. I'd have to take a close look at what exactly Medicare for All would cost, what Medicare would cost versus how much it would save. Right? If our tax bill is going to go up $300, but you're saving $400 a month on health bills, then I call that a plus, right? Mm-hmm. So maybe it's Medicare for All, maybe it's strengthening the Affordable Care Act, but we need something to give us help rather than just kick millions of Americans off of health insurance, which is what one political party is trying to do.
So what's the biggest difference between you and your opponent, Tracy Mann? How confident are you that a Democrat can win? Sure.
No, so biggest difference between Tracy Mann and myself. Check his voting record. Every single vote he's taken has been Kevin McCarthy's way. He doesn't vote. Talk to any Kansan. Kansans across the country. We're more somewhere down the middle of the road, right? We just voted to keep abortion access constitutional here in the state of Kansas, and he heavily funded Value Them Both. And he would be first vote in line if Kevin McCarthy told him to for a national abortion ban. He doesn't vote the way Kansans want. He votes the way Kevin McCarthy wants, and that's the biggest difference between the two of us. I wouldn't be a vote for Biden. I wouldn't be a vote for AOC. I wouldn't be a vote for Pelosi. I'd be a vote for Kansas.
I like that.
So as our interview draws to a close here, are there any subjects we didn't ask you about that you'd like to mention?
Talking about abortion just a moment ago, I would be a vote to codify Roe v. Wade, right? Kansas made their choice on August 2nd. Every single congressional district rejected Value Them Both. And I would vote to make sure our voices heard and our voices respected at the national level. We have elected officials across the country and a few candidates here in Kansas. They're trying to take the choice we made away from us, and I would vote to codify a woman's right to bodily autonomy into national law and keep legislators out of their doctor's office.
Well
said. There are 2 constitutional amendments on this ballot that are coming up. Can you talk just a hair bit about what those are and what those mean for that fight as well?
Yeah, so there are. I can't remember which one's going to be the first one or the second one on the ballot, but there is the first, or one of them is that the legislature can overrule a governor's regulation or an executive regulation with a simple majority. The claim is that they don't have a way, right? It's checks and balances. They don't have a way to override what they might call legislative overreach or executive overreach. But there's a simple answer for that, and it's called passing new laws. Right? If the executive branch makes a new regulation based on existing law, the legislature can pass a new law that invalidates the regulation. But then they'd have to overcome the veto. Is it? So they're trying. The first one of the amendments is trying to restrict the governor's veto. And being a part of a system of checks and balances, I'm going to be voting against that amendment myself. And the Second Amendment would force counties or cities to elect their sheriffs, and would allow the Attorney General of the state to begin the proceedings to remove a sheriff from their elected position. So by and large, sheriffs are already elected in the state of Kansas. So that's really a non-issue. The second part of that amendment is where I see the real trouble, because our local officials already have a way of beginning those proceedings to get rid of our sheriffs. And that begins at your local DA's office. If you have a sheriff who's been acting improperly, your DA can launch that investigation, to bring charges, to remove your sheriff from office. All this does is it takes local power away from your communities and allows an attorney general to just, at their own whim, remove a sheriff. And I don't think we need an attorney general from either party dictating who each county's sheriff can be. So I'll be voting against that amendment as well.
And I've tried to kind of extend that into, okay, so if one is removed, then what's to stop? So like currently those elections go largely unopposed. And so how easy would it be for somebody to be put up to be elected without any kind of opposition from another? I mean, how easy would it be to make sure that somebody that's gonna vote the way that you want them to vote, or do the things the way that you want them to be installed without any opposition?
So since, you know, like as you said, a lot of these local elections are done unopposed. Here in Finney County is no different. So, you know, I imagine there's plenty of handshake agreements. I won't run if you're running, or, you know, if you're running, I won't run, things like that. So it's, if there's not more than one choice, it's pretty easy to rig the deck.
Absolutely. And, you know, when the Republican Party has people in our area convinced to just check the box and that's all the thought process you have to put into it, then, you know, it gives the left side a real struggle in Kansas. But,
especially, I mean, Republicans out here are something like 48%. Democrats are somewhere in the 20s, with independents somewhere in the 30s. So, I mean, it's hard for a non-Republican to break through, but, you know, I'm not going to ask any single person to vote for me because of the letter after my name. I want you to vote for me because you think I'm a reasonable person and you'll trust my judgment.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. But we've had a dumbing down of society in the sense that people don't research their candidates like they once did. And it's harder and harder for candidates to get their message out there without having huge amounts of money to just throw at stupid ads and whatnot. And the things that because it's not a matter of remembering who the candidate is. They're just trying to get you to remember the name and getting it on repeat like that. But Kansas is a different world when it comes to politics, and the Democrats, I think, need to focus on chasing independent votes to boost their numbers and make it understood that while they may not be willing to register under the D name, like some of us here on the show, we can support you guys and maybe even be brought back if we were courted.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, anyone who votes for me, you know, even if you don't vote for me, if and when I win, I will do my best to represent each and every Kansan in the 1st Congressional District.
Yeah. And real quick, the 1st Congressional District is huge. It's not just Finney County.
Oh,
it covers...
it's massive. It was, before redistricting this year, it was the 7th largest in the nation that didn't cover an entire state. And then we got bigger. Part of that's happening because our rural communities our populations are shrinking. And so we need a reinvestment into our locally owned businesses. We need a reinvestment into education across the 1st Congressional District, and to get newer, better jobs back here. So we're not just pumping kids out of high school and then shipping them off to Lawrence or shipping them off to out of state.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you've campaigned, have you seen high energy as we saw in the August 2nd election? Are you seeing that from younger voters, new women voters, as you've gone throughout the state?
I'm seeing a ton of energy. I hope we can keep that momentum. Right. Yeah. It's and I think, you know, value them both is going to be, you know, big. It won in the ruby red 1st Congressional District, right? My opponent won by 20 something points 2 years ago, and value them both lost 52-48 in the 1st Congressional District. So there's a ton of energy, and I hope we can carry that momentum.
So do I. It's a big ballot this year, and I hope that at least people are going out to vote for the initiatives, and then like again, in the least, to check your ballot and again vote for people that you know would represent you well, and less by what the letter at the end of their name says.
Exactly.
And I liked, I enjoy how pragmatic your position seemed to be, and I wish that more people would want that as well.
Yeah, the system doesn't work when our elected officials only represent one party. That we need to be able to work together, and we need to be able to get things done. And that doesn't receding into your own parties and turning this into a flame war doesn't solve any problems.
Jimmy, thanks again for taking your time to visit with us today. We so appreciated the scheduling and all of that. You were so flexible and willing to help. Tell people how we find you. We got a banner going across for anybody who wants to mark it down, but let the people know where we find you at.
Absolutely. So Facebook, well, I don't know how active my Facebook page is, but Twitter, Instagram, Jimmy for Kansas, and the website jimmyforkansas.com. Early voting started today, so get out and vote Jimmy.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We appreciate you being here, Jimmy. Have a great night. And that was Jimmy Beard, first congressional district candidate here in Kansas, running a rough campaign against Tracy Mann, coming along. Sounds like he's doing pretty good. He has a good grasp.
An uphill battle.
It's going to be an uphill battle, but he's got a really good grasp on what's going on, and sounds like he understands
he's got the right message.
The needs and wants of Kansans
people
are. Yeah,
yeah, and as Sarah mentioned, somebody threw it up there, and we didn't get to ask him about it specifically, but he's educated on our farming community. Thank you. So he supports farmers' right to repair, which is a wild thing if you've never looked into that.
Yeah.
I encourage you to do so.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting topic.
Yeah.
Definitely one for a Supermed at some point.
Amen. Yeah, we definitely should make sure that it's on the list. So our next guest, and you may know her from Madrid Credit Repair in downtown Garden City, and is running for Finney County Commission from District 5, Elva Madrid.
Elva!
Hey, Elva, how are you?
I'm doing good. Fighting my allergies tonight, so forgive me if I'm coughing and sneezing.
Oh man, I was driving home tonight, and when the sun starts going down, and you can just see the pollen.
Just see it. I was driving home from Wichita, and it was like fog.
It's
like the rain.
All the lot stuff without flying around.
Yeah.
That as well. That's always a good time. Elva, thank you so much for taking time to visit with us and our audience. For those of us that don't know who you are, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, I have an office downtown in Garden City. I do credit repair and tax work, and I do a little bit of a lot for everybody and anybody that has questions. I get a lot of people with just random questions, especially about business-oriented questions, immigration questions. I worked in the banking business for about 25 years. I worked for attorneys here in town. So I've done a little bit of a lot. So I'm familiar with Garden City since I've been here for about 30 years. So I think just our minority community look for me for questions and for guidance.
So what made you decide to run for county commission?
I do try to go to the commission meetings as much as I can, as time allows it. And I don't see a lot of our Hispanic community involved or our minority community involved. So that's kind of my goal, even with me just running, with me just putting it out there. Hey, get your voices heard, get your opinions put out there. This is what you can do. This is the process. You're allowed to go ask questions. You're allowed, to make changes. So I decided to run to kind of pave the road for other people. Even if I don't win, I want people to know that it's possible. You can do it. You can try. All you can do is try.
I hope at least one person is inspired to do that. That's great. Thank
The
you
worst thing people could say is no.
Right.
We've we've been kind of watching a lot of our county commission meetings lately, and we've had a fair share of tirades against Troy Unruh, which will continue. We're watching you, Troy. We did not forget about you. You did not get away from this show.
He is city commission. He's not county commission. He is city commission.
Fair.
But
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
But my larger point, though, is these county commissioners and even city commissioners, but county commissioners only attend events that seem to have higher buying power. How do you see yourself being more involved in the community and organizations and events and the things that go on in Garden City behind the scenes?
Right, and that is one goal. I mean, I do also see that, and I think a lot of other people that I've been talking to also see that. I think we need to motivate, because everybody starts small. We all start small and, get big. So we need to applaud everybody for starting. Just to get started is a big step. So guidance and applauding people and help them continue to grow. So I think we do lack a little bit in that in the Garden City area. We're out there with our, taking the photos and taking the pictures with especially with the big out of town businesses coming in. What about our local people? Let's take care of our local small businesses a little bit more. So that is definitely one of my goals.
It always bothers me when I see an architecture project out of Hayes or out of Wichita, or a construction company building from Kansas City, and it's just like, why are we sending that money out of our community?
Right, and it's great that Garden City is growing. We do need those big companies coming in and helping Garden City grow. I mean, that's awesome. We need it, but let's also applaud the little. Let's also applaud the little business, the small businesses, people getting started, because a lot of our minority communities, a lot of our small businesses communities, like I said, we have a lot of mom and pop shops that have been around for, 30, 40, 50 years. And I think a lot of them are retiring now. But there's other small businesses growing that, we all hope to be that big someday.
Yeah.
And that's a great lead into my next question. Many communities that are similar to ours have a Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. We're 52% Hispanic last I checked. As a local business owner, how do you feel our community helps minorities open a business and keep them successful and give them a sense of community like that?
Actually, if I remember right, about 15 years ago, I was actually involved in trying to get a Hispanic Chamber of Commerce started here in Garden City. And our Chamber of Commerce here fought it, and they said, we need to stick together, we need to stay together. And they did at that time try to do a little bit more for the minority community, small business community. And then I think they kind of just slowly disappeared or went away.
Yeah.
So I think
it's hard to keep effort behind nonprofit organizations.
Exactly. We can learn from Wichita. We can
absolutely.
Maybe get somebody out here from Wichita to guide us. And this is actually what happened last time we tried to put it together. We did talk to the Wichita community, and they were willing to come down here and help us. And I think maybe it's time to give it another thought.
And I think Liberal has a pretty good Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. So I know they did a couple of years ago. I don't know where they are with it today, but if they can do it there, we can definitely work together with them as well.
So Elva, how do you see yourself being more open to opinions from those who oppose your views?
Well, not happy, of course. No. I'm pretty easygoing. I love to listen. I love to listen to what people have to say, and we all have different views of looking at things. We all see things differently. So as long as people can bring facts to me, hey, I'm willing to listen.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like a good metric.
And with that, with our Hispanic community that we have, our minority community, I mean, we have 29 different languages, I believe it is, that's spoken at our high school. Do you feel that our current county commission does a good job or a great job at representing our minority community?
I really don't see any representation. I think we lack in it quite a bit. I try to stay involved with our minority community on my Facebook page. Like whenever I go to the commission meetings, I try to put the information out there. Hey, this is what's going on. And like, I think it was like maybe 3-4 years ago, we had that monies that was going out downtown for small businesses. So I was out there, you know, letting the small businesses know the minorities don't get involved a lot in that. So that's kind of what I'm trying to push. You know, hey, this is okay. You can have the money, and you'll be surprised. I talked to some of the businesses and they were scared. They're like, no, what's the catch? So I think we need to make people feel comfortable. And that is one of my goals, to make our minority business owners, our minority community, to feel comfortable. Hey, you know, it's okay. You know, nothing's going to happen. Nothing bad's going to happen. Because, I mean, I think it was like $30,000 for my hotspot, you know, because they required a sprinkler system, you know, huge expense, you know, but the monies was there, and our Hispanic community is afraid. They're afraid, or it makes them nervous. You know, what's going to happen? What's the catch? Well, so yeah, just money that's out there to be used for the businesses, you know, or small SBA. When this SBA money came out, I'm glad I did get a lot of people to take advantage of that, which was awesome. So I was a big advocate for SBA, you know, the money's there, get it, you know. But again, there's still a lot of people that felt uncomfortable.
And that was always one of my big struggles. When I was involved with politics, and I had a brief stint where I ran for office, I really wanted to tap into that community and bring them to the table. But at the end of the day, I'm a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white man, and my community has done a lot of atrocity. I mean, it doesn't matter how ambitious the goals are; you can't change who you are. So having somebody of your caliber, you're a great opportunity for the young community, and I really hope you're able to tap into that power.
Yeah, I mean, even for me, like I said, sometimes it's frustrating because people are so hesitant on getting that help that's there for
Are those application processes rigorous? Are they are they difficult to navigate?
No, it really wasn't. Like for example, the SBA application, I mean, it literally took me 10 minutes. I mean, you have to provide your tax information, of course. It literally took me 10 minutes on the applications that I submitted. Now, it is very time consuming, the follow-up, you know, the follow-up with the applications. Of course, SBA got bombarded, as you know. I mean, when it first started, I was watching it. When I first heard of it, I was watching it. And I too was hesitant. I'm like, no, wait, this is a scam. And I was watching it. So I processed my own application, and I got money in the bank. And then I'm like, oh, this is real. This is true. And I've done a lot of research. I mean, you have to do your research with as much as fraud and scam that there is. I've done my research, and then I put it out there. I got my contacts with SBA. I done my research online and realized, hey, this is real. You know, it's money that's out there for us.
Yeah, so that's a great resource. If people haven't called that, I think my husband and I were looking into doing our own business, and they offer consultations or offer advice. There are a lot of topics that you can ask them about that they are a great resource. So I encourage anyone to.
Surprised. A lot of people don't know that they exist, and they've been around for years, because everybody that I talk to, well, who are they or what are they? I'm like, if you're a business owner, you better know who SBA is, because they've got your back. They've got your back. They really do. And
they help you every step.
And there's minority programs. There's women-owned businesses programs, and they guide you. And there's money set aside specifically for minorities, specifically for women-owned businesses. So, and a lot of people don't know it's there.
Especially if you're, we were looking into a certain aspect. So, like if it's women in agriculture, or there are a lot of those niche descriptors that can help someone out if they're interested in looking into to starting your own business. So So today we heard a special committee on medical cannabis in response to Joe Biden's recent comments in Topeka. Lori Kelly ran her campaign on medical legalization, and we haven't seen an ounce of movement. Do you think Democrats are serious about getting this passed, or is it just smoke and mirrors because it's a popular topic?
Now that you mentioned it, I did hear it. It's been, about a year that they mentioned. Senator's office mentioned it about a year ago, and then I haven't heard anything. So sometimes I think we all get a lot on our plates and there's just not enough time for everything. But I really hope that it comes back around. I really hope that they do bring it. It.
48 other states have made the time.
Right. I think we need it, and so many other people that have had to move with their children to states where it's legal, because it has been proven that medically proven that it helps kids with seizures.
And there's so much to learn from it from other states too. The funds that have come from it, how they've spent it, how it does affect people, and how we're creating our own refugees out of Kansas, like you said, for medicinal purposes. But it also brings in regulation. It's easier to control. And, right now in our community, we've had increased traffic of heavier drugs, harder drugs, crack, cocaine, meth, fentanyl has been huge as well.
Lots of fentanyl.
And, it's not just drug trade, it's human trafficking as well.
Yes.
Well, how do you see, how, as a county commissioner, how do you bring that to light into the public, how big of a problem it is, and help with prevention?
Being downtown and having an office downtown, you can see the difference. You can see it's coming, and we need to put a stop to it. We need to do something now before it gets way out of control, because you can see the difference. You don't feel as safe downtown, and we don't want that for our community. So I actually had an incident at my office, with someone that was on drugs, and I keep thinking, my family just tell me, you need to have protection, you need to have cameras, and we're used to Garden City being a small town. It's it's okay. I keep saying, don't worry, it's fine, and then this happened to me. So
Sure.
yeah, definitely second thoughts.
Oh, absolutely. And, Ernie Ortiz and the owner of El Zarape, we still don't know what happened to him, but drugs is very likely a culprit. But yeah. So if elected county commissioner, what is the first thing you plan to do? Well, like if you had your dream board up and whatnot, what's the first little checkbox that needs to be filled there?
I'm starting out, I'm gonna do a lot of listening and watching. This would be my first political involvement, so I think I've got a lot to learn from those that are there already. Of course, I'll need a lot of guidance, so just watching and listening to everybody's goals and opinions, I think is going to be helpful. But my true goal, again, is for a minority community to get involved. I think we need more involvement from our commission office, from our city office, in our minority community, not just in the the small businesses, which is booming. It's a big boom here in Garden City with minority businesses going up. And I think we need to help them take it to the next level, for growth. We had a meeting about 3 weeks ago with state representatives about a lot of money that's out there for construction. You need to watch the construction industry right now. It's huge. Here in Garden City, it's growing. We need the growth. And there's a lot of assistance out there coming from the state. There's a lot of assistance coming for U.S. homeowners to do home improvements. And there's monies out there. I think that was opened here last week for home improvements. So there is a lot of assistance out there that I think that people just need to watch for it.
Yeah.
That's cool. I had no idea. As county commissioner, you would work closely with the water district. Towns Riverview has been in a clean water crisis mode for years. What do you plan to do to help them gain access to clean water?
I have heard of that for several years now, and I can't believe it hasn't been resolved. So I would just need to see what plan they have in place and what is their future goal to get it resolved. And again, just pushing to get things done. I'm a very determined person, and I don't like to let things kind of just hang around. I am very stubborn on that. I like to get things completed. So
I've heard that my whole life. I appreciate other stubborn people. It's
yes.
it's a skill.
So okay, I was trying to find some information on your campaign to build questions on before the show and whatnot. Other than a Facebook page, I wasn't able to find anything. Do you feel like you have enough name recognition in this county to win? Because the biggest problem I see it when I was running is people don't take the time to learn about anybody. They just know, I'm Republican, so I vote Republican, even though it's oftentimes very much against their interest.
Right. I have been active behind the scenes, so watch out for the quiet ones.
Okay.
No, I have my Facebook page, and I think I just I know a lot of people know me, so I have been putting my yard signs. We bought, I think, about 200 yard signs or 150 yard signs, and I don't have any left. And people are still asking me for some, so I actually need to order more. I just haven't had time. I've got my buttons, my shirts, and then we had the meet and greet here at the office, which we had a great turnout. And then I'm on Facebook quite a bit. But I am talking. I mean, I'm always out and about talking to people. I'm always at Home Depot. I'm always doing business somewhere. I'm always talking to people everywhere. I'm hardly at my office, so I am out and about and giving people my info all the time.
And so on Facebook, you mean come find you as yourself. You don't have a page that's like Elva for Commissioner or anything.
Yes, we do have a page for Elva for Commissioner. We do.
Okay, great.
Okay. And that's what it's under, Elva for Commissioner then? That's how people find it? Okay. Good to
my
know.
daughter is helping me with that, Sasha, and then Omar, Angeles, they are my campaigning managers. So they are responsible for that. So Omar and Sasha, if you're watching, you need to be more active. Get on that page and post.
Don't let those young ones trick you into any TikTok dances or anything.
I know.
I was going to say, if I'm not friends with you personally, I know that I see you at least in friends of friends conversations, and I really love seeing you're always adding at least a positive comment, or at least trying to just for.
Do you see my walls behind me?
Yeah, I was like, that's
my wall. It's my positive wall, I call it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah, you got to surround yourself with positive things and happy things, and those things just manifest themselves typically.
Yes.
It's all mindset.
I always tell everybody, just be a happy child, We're here for such a short time.
Yeah.
Do what you can, be happy, enjoy life, and, help others. I'm always here to help others. I get calls all the time. I get messages all the time. I get people coming in here all the time. Elva this, Elva, what should I do? Elva, and if I have the time, I will respond. I will take that call. I have people coming in here, telling me their life stories.
Yeah.
My dad keeps telling me, you need to stop.
Yeah.
But
well,
actually,
Zach and I are in sales too, and a lot of times you end up being a psychologist for a lot of people, because the industries that we're in, people need help. They've seen probably one of their worst days, and then, they're there to see us to get a part to fix their problem, or whatever. So we totally relate with that.
So it's often said it's a man's world, but there's never been a better time than now for more girl power. You will be the only woman on the county commission if elected. How do you plan to work with the other commissioners and ensure that you are taken seriously and heard yourself?
Well, I think my background speaks for itself. I'm in a man's world, in the construction world. I have owned my office. Have started all my businesses, from ground. I didn't know anything about running a credit repair or everything I do here at the office. I didn't know anything about construction. And I get a lot of criticism from the guys. They think I can't take on the jobs that I do, and actually one of my big jobs that I have right now, and I think I literally would get other contractors driving around some of my jobs. So I don't think I have a problem in letting people know that I stand my ground. I stand my ground on what I believe.
You got that OG.
Yeah.
You got that OG girl boss energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't mess with me, okay? I'm a very happy child, but don't mess with me.
Yeah, like the mom or grandma that, we're going to have a great time, but boy, if you step out.
Yeah, right. I think most people that know me, like I said, I'm a very helpful, easygoing person.
Yeah.
If I can help, I will. But if you try to push my buttons, I'll push right back.
Yeah. And a couple months ago, the county commission hosted a Republican debate, which you were invited to. It was a Republican debate.
Yes.
You declined that invite. You caught some slack from the people that were watching the show and online a little bit, or the debate. Can you explain why you didn't go?
Because that was my choice, and I stand by it.
Yeah.
Like I said, this is my first time getting politically involved, so I'm doing a lot of listening and a lot of watching, and that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
That's what I feel comfortable with. That's what I felt I wanted to do. But I have an open door policy. If anybody has any questions for me, if anybody has any concerns, although what are your beliefs, what are your goals? 708 North Main,
Yeah.
phone numbers all over town. So,
and I was one of those people. I asked you, I said, hey, why didn't you go to this? Just out of curiosity. And you said, well, it's a Republican debate. I'm a Democrat. And they were there to talk about their platforms. And, I felt like it was a setup for you, for them to kind of smear you a little bit that way. It was completely inappropriate. And I didn't like what I saw from people that were commenting because, it wasn't a debate between you and your opponent. It would have been a debate between you and 5 or 6 other gentlemen that, you're not running against. So it made no sense to me whatsoever.
Right.
And
when I was growing up, we called it getting jumped.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I thought it was a bully move for them to do and then to use that against you.
Right?
No, not at all.
So I took my stand. Like I said, that's what I believed I wanted to do, and that's just what I done.
Well, I don't know if you watched the debate, but one topic that was brought up was an event center. Do you think Garden is right for a United Wireless style arena like what Dodge City has, or types of business like that?
No, I think it would be amazing. I'm surprised we don't have one. My son and I actually just went to a big, huge event in Denver. That would be so great for our businesses here in town.
I'm old enough to remember that our fairgrounds used to be filled every summer for various events. We used to have the 3i show, and that was 300,000 people that came to Garden City every other year.
Every other year.
Yeah, they really.
Yeah, we lost a lot of income when by not putting any money back into those fairgrounds. Nobody really wants to go there anymore. The parking lot is atrocious. It's nothing but potholes and whatnot. The only thing that comes there anymore is the fair. And I'm sorry, I don't trust those people who build those rides. I'm not doing it, and I don't trust the people who do the games because they're all scams. And so
and they've priced everybody out of it. You know, they've priced everybody out of that
stupid
carnival.
expensive.
Yeah. We go for the grandkids, but for a little bit, and then let's get out of here.
Right. We got our goldfish. Let's go.
But it really kind of blew my mind when they were talking about it, because none of the other commissioners were really on board with bringing in a venue for music or entertainment or, you know, and we need that. We need that kind of growth. So it's good to hear that you'd be.
We need more entertainment, you know, for our youth. I mean, everybody goes out of town. You know, let's bring it here. Let's bring it to town. Why is everybody having to go out of town for entertainment?
I was gonna say, everybody else drives through here.
Yeah.
To get to where they're going, you can, you know, like keep them hanging out.
Well, it's a middle destination between Wichita and Denver. I mean, we could get bigger bands, you know, to stop through.
And we become complacent as citizens for this area that, you know, if we want some form of entertainment, we're gonna have to drive 3 to 4 hours.
Yeah.
Sometimes 5 to 6 if you're going to Kansas City or whatever. But I don't think we would be afraid to participate in those events here.
And we have a lot of musicians that are traveling out here to go do their things elsewhere. You know, we have a lot of homegrown talent, people like the Tumbleweed Festival who work really hard to bring in other venues and things like that. And there's really, you know, we've either got to move around or readjust those facilities to make sure that everybody fits, or
right.
Greg Harold just said that we don't need a building that just sits there, but we already have a building that just sits there. But it could bring in some tax revenue if it was nice and didn't look like it was built in the 70s, because it was.
And had a sound system and, you know, air conditioning. I think only part of that building's air conditioned. So,
I mean,
I remember we would go to the 3i building and you would just drain and sweat.
Yeah.
Back in the day when there was activity over there. So.
Arguably, there's still a lot of activity, you know, with the school district, and there are a lot of clubs who use that facility. So it's not just sitting there. Sir Greg.
Yeah, there are things that, you know, there was a gun show, I think, that next weekend that's there this weekend. You know, it does get users. I've been to some pretty banger quinceañeras there. I got to tell you what, you know, and some other things too.
Nice would be nice.
But yeah, we need a nice venue with a stage, you know. And with like Sports of the World, we were expecting this massive complex to come in here and bring us soccer, an indoor trampoline park, and I mean, just all this great stuff. We heard all this talk. We gave tax revenue breaks for it, and the owners of that venture eventually had a falling out, and now it's been locked up in litigation. And the city commission just recently had a vote to extend that sales tax out there, and they did. What do you know about that project? Do you know anything? Is it moving forward? Is it going to be just some dirt work done every once a year so they can get tax benefits? What's going on out there?
I haven't heard anything about it at all.
Yeah,
because I'm with the contractors luncheons that we have once a month, and usually the city comes in and gives us information and updates about what's going on. But you know, nothing has been said about that at all.
Yeah. That's unfortunate. Yeah, I think more needs to be, you know, said about that, and you know, divested to the community.
To anyone when you bring it up, everybody.
It is,
and it needs to be more open and honest.
Yeah, it definitely needs to be more open and honest about what's really going on there and what we need to. They are moving dirt now, Greg, but they've done that before. And that's what my question is. Are they just going to go in and move dirt every time they need a new tax break? Is that what's going on out here? Is that what the Sport of the World complex is going to be for us?
How much of that money does Troy have by now?
Yeah, exactly. Troy?
Always a good question.
You know, we're watching you. And, you know, Elva, we won't ask you to comment on the Troy Unruh situation, but we do want to remind our audience that he stole and pled guilty to over $18,000.
Pled down to a misdemeanor.
Pled down to a misdemeanor, accepted a $1,500, less than $1,500 plea deal. Good old boy deal. And got away with taking money away from those that most needed it. And you
what
know, if
bothers
you
me most is he didn't even have to apologize. He didn't
and
have
if
to
you
step
dig
down
into
from
that
anything.
case as we did,
Nah,
you're gonna find it wasn't just Live Well, but it was Finney County Convention and Tourism, and there was a Jubilee in 2019. Look into that as well, and who the witnesses are in that case. And it's a really interesting story that it tells just by those little items. This guy has stolen thousands of dollars from our community. He should not be a leader.
and not just that, but I remember, and I don't want to bring bad memories up for anybody. I just want for people to see the difference. There was a gentleman here a few years back, Hispanic, of course, whom also got caught, doing this type of thing with city money. Well, this guy done 5 years in prison.
Yeah.
But now we have Troy here still sitting on the commission board. So that's my question. What's the difference here? Why does one man go to prison for 5 years? And I believe the funds he had taken was like 5,000 or 6,000 at the time. But yet we have another, like you say, good old boy, knows people in the community, knows people, got my back, I got your back, whatever type of thing goes on in this town. And okay, he's still a commissioner, you know? So
but it's not,
that's what bothers me.
Yeah. And it's not just here in Garden. This man's in Grant County, in Ulysses, and he's doing the same types of things down there and involved in the same types of organizations there that he stole from here.
And even our leadership that isn't directly involved with it but knows about it, you're guilty still. You're still just as bad. It is your job as a leader to be aware of those issues and be respectful of the taxpayers you represent and the money they're putting into the community you represent. And so it just like Mayor Shannon Dick refused to comment on it and said that it didn't have anything to do with the city. And you can't stay in leadership. You're not a leader.
Community. What are we showing our community that it's okay?
Yeah, what does that teach our kids?
Be
a politician if you want to make money.
Money and you can still be a community leader. That bothers me.
Thank you, Elva, for giving us your opinion, because we do try to ask our
literally
guests
the first politician that had the guts to do it, and you got my vote just based on that alone.
Yeah, well,
I'll say that.
And
right
so
here
much
on
more.
camera.
So much more, I would say, too. And, Brian does make a good point. Our whole city commission at this point is complicit because they won't comment on it. I've reached out to Mayor Shannon Dick and asked him to talk about it with me, even privately, in person.
Has a right,
and he never got back to me.
Right to hear.
And I love Shannon. I have to put that out there. I do like Shannon a lot. I think he does a lot of really good stuff for this community. He's got an amazing family, and I'm proud to know him as a friend.
But our community has the right to know what are your thoughts, and what are your thoughts for still allowing him to be a commissioner and a leader of our community. And our kids are watching. Our community is watching. So what are you telling our community?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's definitely not respectful to the citizens, in my opinion.
And thank you for having that stance of transparency, like as much as that's got to be a certain level that you strive for with what you do, and as many questions as you take, and when the community is asking for your wisdom and things, that's really important to be open with who you're representing.
And that is something that we have been talking about and asking for as a code of ethics for city and county commissioners. So that way, if something like this does happen, it's there and they can be gone. And it's not an embarrassment or stain on our community. And we're going to say, hey, we're not going to give you positions of power or leadership to abuse them and then to continue to abuse them. Elva for Kansas governor, absolutely. It starts at county commission, right, Elva? And then we go from there.
Gotta get you.
Little steps.
Yeah, small steps.
For people who don't know,
in the background.
There, yeah, exactly.
How often are you going to county commission meetings? Like, if we're just a constituent, how can we get involved if we want to ask questions? What do we do?
You can actually go to finneycounty.org, and then they have all the schedule of the committee of the meetings coming up, and then you can actually get a list at the city of all the topics that are going to be spoken about. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So if you feel this is of interest to me, this is, I'll go. If this sounds boring, then I don't want to be there. Or if you have something that you want change or something that you want to talk about, then you go and sign up and know that you're going to be listened to.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
And so before we wrap up tonight, do you have any other final thoughts, or was there an issue that we missed or something that's really important that you want to make sure you get covered?
No, I think just for people to know, and the people that do know me, they know me. I'm pretty stern. I'm pretty family oriented. I'm a single mom of 2 kids, a 15-year-old. She was 15. Now she's a 33-year-old. 18, my baby.
They do age fast.
Yeah. And I have 4 grandkids. So I'm keeping our community clean, keeping our community drugs. Drugs is a huge thing with me, is, keeping kids off drugs. I actually just had a situation at the high school that I still need to do Facebook Live on. I'm sorry, but I am going to do Facebook Live on it. I don't care who gets mad. Because it is of a concern to me with, what's going on at the high school. So I think just, being ethical.
Well,
honest.
it's easier for these kids to get a hold of drugs than it is even alcohol or cigarettes anymore.
Right.
Because those things are regulated. You can't just walk into a store and buy a pack of cigarettes even at 18 anymore. I mean, I remember being 18 and buying cigarettes for all my 16 and 17-year-old friends because I could. Just because I could.
You're going to jail for that.
I didn't even smoke at the time.
You're going to get arrested for that now, Zach.
Come after
come
me
back.
for it. I dare him.
Officer Zorn doesn't have just a subpoena for...
Elva, thank you again for taking the time to be here,
Yes.
visiting with us, for our audience.
So much.
Thanks for having me. It was fun.
Been great.
Good.
Yeah.
So Facebook, everybody look up Elva for City Commission on Facebook.
County Commission.
I got
He'll
short
get it.
in the brain. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Okay, good
Yep.
night, guys. Good night, everybody.
All right. Thank you.
Good night, Elva. Thank you.
Have a great night, Elva. We'll see you. Well, that was a lot of fun.
Hey, that was a good show,
Yeah,
guys.
good.
I think
Yeah.
this is getting more natural every show. We're having more fun.
Yep.
The mistakes, or not even the mistakes, the technical errors are not even really. We're just rolling with it, guys.
Yeah.
I love it.
And I'm sorry for the uncomfortable breathing and loud typing tonight.
If I was a guest or was doing all the things, my laptop was...
We had both of our producers were life happened and not able to be here, so I had to take the reins and do some things, so I was distracted a little bit, and I want to apologize to our guests too, where I was a little caught up in other things as well. But man, that was awesome. We learned some really good things from Jimmy and from Elva.
Hashtag Caitlin needs a new laptop.
Hashtag Caitlin needs a new laptop, but she did get hooked up with a great new camera tonight, and it got better as time went on,
Hey, Kent, real quick, tell people about that scroller you had on the coffee cup thing. Like, I love coffee, but what do you got going on?
I love coffee too, and these are the best kinds of coffee, guys. We are trying hard to bring informative content about Southwest Kansas, Garden City, Western Kansas to the interweb. We don't have any type of news coverage or political talk show where you can be interactive and live and visit with candidates and talk about issues that affect you, me, and every other regular person around. So we want to be able to do more for you. And with a donation, a small donation, as small as $1 coffee drink, that'll help us, invest in the show and more time to bring you guys better content. And we'd appreciate anything that you could give us, that you want to give us, even if it's a like, share, and subscribe. Those mean everything to us as well. But it is buymeacoffee.com/CKZ show. That's buymeacoffee.com/CKZ show.
So let me understand this then. So they're not literally buying us a coffee. It's just the mechanism we've chosen to use.
Yeah, it's like Patreon. What everybody knows about Patreon.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a simple.
It's a little questionable.
Yeah,
but so people get to pitch in, $1 to $5, $10. I mean, if you want to go wild, we're not going to stop you.
Right.
But the idea is you pitch in a little bit of money, and we save it up, and we buy Caitlin a new microphone. Or we save it up and we get Kent a new webcam. Well, whatever it might be, things that we need to make this show more cohesive, smoother, sound more professional.
Yeah. We'd like to go to
2. So if you want season 3, 4, and 5, let's improve every year.
Yeah. Absolutely. And it also helps us we need a camera is what we really need, and some microphones where we can go out and be on scene at political rallies or events here in Garden City to cover them and, to shine a little bit brighter of a light on our community and how awesome we think it is. So we want to thank our guest again tonight, Elva Madrid, running for Finney County Commissioner, District 5, and Jimmy Beard running for the U.S. House of Representatives from the Big First. And he has such a tough race, and he's doing really good getting his name out there, and so is Elva. Personally, I liked them both guys. I learned a lot of things about them, and I like what they said.
Yeah. That was a good show, guys. Thank you very much for everybody who stayed and watched. We appreciate all of you guys that tune in live. It's a lot more fun to have the participation. And if you watch afterwards, you couldn't be here live, then that we don't hold it against you by any means. But
thanks for watching us on Thursday at 8 a.m. before work or whatever. We love you guys too.
Remember the like, share, subscribe, all of that stuff. It goes a long ways. Comment, even if you comment when you're watching it and it's not live, we still get to see it. We still get to share it. And we still love to see the participation and know that there's people enjoying what we do. It's what keeps us coming back. Caitlin, any final thoughts tonight?
No, just good luck out there this week, folks. If you got
go vote.
Yes.
Early vote.
November 8th. Check your registration. Make sure you're all good to go. Address matches, all that jazz at ksvotes.org. Anytime. Mm-hmm. Yeah, next week, guys, October 26th, we have a very important candidate on the show. This gentleman is running against Chris Kobach, which many of us know. We've heard his name before. It's former Secretary of State, former candidate for Kansas governor, former Trump loyalist / I came in too late, but I don't know.
It was just me on Reddit, but he revamped his campaign, and I'm not sure.
It's so interesting from the.
I want a soundboard so I can do sound effects like the.
It's going to be a fun interview. I've been looking forward to this interview so much so I announced at the end of last week that he was this week. And I booked everybody on his show thinking, we need to get Troy on. And we have an open invitation. We have an open invitation. Troy, I know you're watching this show. You are welcome to come visit with us anytime. We'd love to go round and round with you. But next week, Chris Mann running against Chris Kobach. The battle of the two Chris's. It's going to be a doozy. Zach's going to have some hard dirt on Kobach. You to throw down on, and we really want to push how important this is. One specific vote is on your ballot as we move through here. So next week, October 26th, 8 p.m. as usual. Attorney General Chris Mann. Everybody have a great evening.
Bye.
Have a good night, true believers. Flip, flip.
Well. Test. Better. take a minute to envision it. Been the wisdom deriving from a difference of opinion. Inquisitive, isn't it? When the picture in the mirror isn't shit, but give it a minute. Fix this image and hit the bricks with the viciousness. But don't play, cause one day you'll be saying you shoulda, coulda, woulda, but my shit it just wouldn't drop. Cause you wouldn't have, but you're so worried. It was your world. When you hit them with the rhymes, they had no words. Just come back to the flip of the tongue fun that you once had and chuck it like a beer and crush that. Go shave your mustache and write it down, cut that, and show 'em us rap again.
Oh, 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 I'm getting tired of that. I don't know anymore what they call that. Getting so you know that something's missing. Let's go show 'em what rap is again.
Like taking a step out of your front door for the first time and you want more with the sunshine, but you've been locked away, forgetting you don't care. Listen, it's not part of the mission. Just say what you got to say, whether it makes sense. Just to put you to the wrist, spit from the hips, slipping so soft, but splitting your lip. You get a grip, cause as good as your shit is, you know it really isn't a big deal. Cause it'll turn heads bound too. It's your purpose, round two. But you gotta open your eyes and realize it's right here. But to open your mind, you gotta try to fight fear and find a light bright enough to ignite and excite peers. But get their attention, I find. You gotta give them a big boom. You're the fuel, and I got my lighter right here.
Oh, 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 I'm getting tired of that. I don't know anymore what they call rap. Getting so you know that something's missing. Let's go show 'em what rap is again.